What's up, guys? It's a new year. I got some projects lined up for the car. I hope to bring y'all along with me on. One, I'm going to be mounting the passenger side seat. I've got that old Kirky from way back in the day. It's our drag seat, so it wasn't very good for track day stuff. It was okay for autocross, but for a passenger seat, it's going to be fine, and it's super light as well. I've also got some new tires that are going on it. I got some Maxxis VR1s, the 245 15s. They were on like super sale over Black Friday. I'll be mounting those up and trying those out. I've got 2 or 3 track days, depending on how everything kind of works itself out, that I have scheduled this year. Probably 2 with Jzilla, and then 1 possibly with just track it. It kind of depends on where I want to go and how I want to proceed with things. I've got kind of some stuff going on with it where I'm making it more street friendly. So I'm trying to get some miles on the car where I'm not just hating life. I mean, it's for autocross, it was fine. Being completely gutted and just stripped and loud exhaust, and I really didn't care. The seat wasn't, the ergonomics were iffy. But now that I'm, driving to and from the track, it's about a 3.5 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour sometimes drive. And then the track day, and then I get right back in the car and head home for another 3 hours. Man, it gets pretty rough. I get home and I'm an angry mess. So I'm putting some carpet back in it, a little bit of sound deadening. I've got a totaled car. I kind of fell into a early 90s or a 1990 first generation, or first year, it's actually 89 if you will, but it's totaled. So it was hitting the front. All the panels are pretty much done on the car. I don't really care. The motor's kind of whatever. It's just a 1.6 car, but it only had like 120,000 miles on it, and it's got good interior, well, good-ish interior, and it's got carpet that's still good. It's got a bunch of other odds and ends that this car was missing. I took the mirrors off of it, the windshield wipers, things like that. Things that I didn't have to worry so much about when I was autocrossing. Now on track, things are getting a little bit more intense with speeds, and safety is becoming a pretty big factor. So I'm starting to try and cater myself to it. I'll step you through some of the stuff that I've done so far with it. It's just little minor things, nothing big. Maybe some, trim here and there. I remounted my windows because the doors are gutted, so I remounted those to where I could actually have a seal that actually somewhat seals off the outside. So I always call the car water resistant. It's definitely not waterproof by any means, but I'm trying to work my way towards a little bit less ingress of water in certain areas. Not that it's limiting or anything, it's just if I put carpet in it, I don't want it to get all moldy and start smelling bad. So I did a few things there in preparation. I'm having a hard time figuring out where I'm gonna mount my battery at now. I just use a small little guy from, pretty small. Some guys use like RC batteries and things. I'm using one from Excess Power, I think. It's like their 570 model, something like that. It's pretty small, but it's still, the challenge is to mount it someplace low and in the center of the car where it's not gonna intrude on me and I can still access it if I need to. I remounted my ECU. There's a panel on the Miata that's at the passenger footwell, at least on I think the 1.6 liter cars. I believe the 1.8 liter cars, they have them behind the passenger seat. So I actually took the panel from the totaled car and I mounted my Mega Squirt to the back of it, and everything's working out okay. I've got a tablet I'd like to mount somehow in there. We'll probably go through that together. And then that's pretty much it, I think. Unless I can find a good deal on some new injectors, and then maybe I'll, like some ID1000s is what I'd really like to kind of prep myself ready for some E85. But if I don't, maybe some flow force injectors, the 640s I think they are. They're EV14s, they're just remapped from a GT500 Mustang, I believe. But it's right at the cusp of what you can handle with the 85, and then 250, 260 horsepower, depending. So I'm no tuner. I like some margin of error there, and I've never had this car on a dyno. I'd like to see what it makes prior to doing that. That'd be pretty fun, actually. I would like to see what I've been driving this car at for a while on like 14 pounds and then on wastegate. In this video, I'll have the mounting done in the seat as far as the passenger side goes. The driver's side I already did a while back. I never actually made a video of it because I wasn't sure how it was going to work and if it did, but it turned out really good. And I wouldn't mind maybe revisiting that in the future with the passenger side as far as the rails I made and stuff. It's time consuming and not everyone has access to a welder and things like that. And it's also, I'm sure there's probably some safety concerns that people are gonna have. Everyone gets very strange with safety and seats and mounting harnesses and things. You know, helmets with roll cages or bars or where they're mounted in relation to each other, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm not a safety Nazi. Your life is yours. You do what you want with it, man. As long as you're not hurting other people in the process, I don't care what you do. So let's go ahead and step y'all through it. Stick around. So this is my original setup. This was the Kirkey seat, as you can see. It's got the rib breakers on it. There's the shell for it, or the cushion. What I did was that I took some 1/4 inch, 4 inch by 4 inch aluminum L bracket at like 36 inches, and I cut it in half, and then I made seat rails out of it. Now this was a lesson in going about things the very long way. I would definitely not recommend doing this if you value your time. This was an extremely time-intensive project to undertake. But since I've already made it and everything's there, I'm gonna go ahead and mount this to the floor. Now, as you can see, I've already got some mounting holes in it. I got 2 of them down here at the bottom, so they're mounted down to the floor. So one thing I've learned whenever doing seat mounting, it's really hard to make sure everything lines up right. So what I end up usually doing is drilling all the holes at one time. The problem is I've already got holes in these brackets right here. So what I'm gonna try to do is use a cardboard template and place it on here, and then I'm going to attempt to try and get the holes correctly aligned with this template, and then drill them in the car. I don't know how this is gonna work out. So I don't know if this, like, I think the proper way to do this is probably to cut some metal stock and then bolt it to these, like on the inside here, so that way they're perfectly aligned to where they're at. But I don't really want to do that. I don't have like an unlimited supply of metal or anything, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use this cardboard, try and find the holes, and then plot everything out as I go. So that's it. The seat's in and mounted. It's pretty tight fit. It works pretty well. It's not moving very much or flexing, at least that I could tell. Once I start driving, I'm sure my passenger will probably notice. It's a little tight over here against the side because of these rib breakers down here. Nothing too concerning. I mean, you can still move in and out just fine. Lining it up wasn't too hard. It was just a matter, I mean, I've done it so many times now, it's, I don't know, it's second nature to know the orders of operations. If you do it, make sure that you end up mounting it in such a way where you can minimize the error. That's the biggest part of it, because if not, you're going to end up getting seats that are all cattywampus. So this thing's pretty straight. I mean, as straight as I've made them before. Overall, though, I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out. I'll end up getting my other seat put in, the carpet, and then lining everything up. I got enough room behind this seat for my battery. That was kind of a big deal, at the expense of passenger seat leg room, though. I mean, this is all my passengers. I'm 6 foot. They're gonna be crammed up in here, which is good. Usually whenever I have a passenger, you know, sometimes it's for on the street, but most of the time it's always at the track or on an autocross, and I find that they have nothing to hold on to or grip because they couldn't touch the floor before when I didn't have this pad there and I was on a stock seat with a foamectomy. Now they're gonna have something to actually brace themselves up against whenever they're actually driving, or whenever I'm driving, because there's a lot of G-force when you don't have a steering wheel to hold you in place, you know, while you're riding. So hope this is helpful for you guys. Like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.